President Donald Trump is no stranger to lawsuits, having filed plenty himself and having been the target of countless lawsuits, especially since becoming president of the United States. But he and his campaign are now the subject of a new class action lawsuit that argues that the text messages being sent out by the Donald Trump campaign are actually illegal. Joining me now to explain what's happening is Scott Hardy, president of Top Class Actions. And Scott, I've talked a lot here on Ring of Fire about some of the potentially illegal things the president has done, his campaign has done, and possibly his family has done. This is a new avenue. I had not seen this prior to you sending me this story. This is quite interesting. Tell us what's happening with this text message case.
Sure. So one of the annoying things that we all talk about every election cycle that comes along is getting those calls, those automated calls, pushing different political parties, pushing PACs, pushing candidates. And there's one thing that's that they are exempted. They are exempted from the TCPA Act to a point. And now, naturally, or at least in this case, Trump's campaign is violating it according to this class action because they can call your home phone without your permission and leave you annoying messages and make you run and answer that home phone line. But of course, a lot of us don't have home phone lines anymore. I don't. I just cut that cord this year. I said, all right, enough. I don't need to spend $40 a month for that. So all of us still have our cell phones, and it is illegal for a political campaign to call you on your cell phone or text message you without your explicit permission. In this case, we have people that were receiving text messages from the Trump campaign saying, support Trump. Go ahead and let these folks know that, that you are backing your president. But these folks are not affiliated with the Trump campaign. They've never signed up supporting the Trump campaign. They have not done anything which gives President Trump's committee and campaign permission to text them, which is a violation of the wonderful Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Right here we have the actual rules on political campaign robocalls and robotexts. And it explicitly states you cannot call or text cell phones. So this is something that Trump's campaign and every other political party and representative and senator out there and mayor and everyone else has to pay attention to, or they're going to end up spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, defending and paying out settlements to those that they annoyingly harass on their cell phones.
I can't tell you how many times over the years I've had to opt out of these political text messages that I never actually signed up for. It's just in the course of my job, I have had to email members of Congress and their staff. My phone number's right there in the email. They take it, they add the email to a list, they add the phone number to a list, because that's what politicians from both sides of the aisle do. If they've got your information, that information is valuable, and they put it in their directory. But I'm also wondering a little bit with this, and again, this is something we don't know yet, we're going to find out. As you mentioned, the people who've been getting these text messages, these are not people who signed up for it. They're not necessarily Donald Trump supporters, but they didn't want the text messages, and they're wondering, how'd you get my number? Okay, well, you got Amazon out there selling our data. You got Facebook out there selling our data. You've got other tech giants and websites selling our data. So it's going to be interesting to see if that is, in fact, where some of this information came from, possibly tying in some of these other issues you and I have been discussing over the past year. Are the tech giants now selling our data to politicians? And if so, that's going to open a whole new can of worms, because obviously you've got politicians railing on the tech giants today, but if they're actually working with them and buying our stuff for them, all those criticisms suddenly ring a lot more hollow than they did in the past.
Exactly. And I think with the upcoming 2020 election, we're going to see many, many more of these violations because the small-time donor who's donating $5, $10, $15 a pop, they're making huge progress for the Trump campaign. Those are some of their mega donors now. They send out this text message to, a million people, And a lot of those folks are like, hey, I haven't given Mr. President Trump, $5 for the last couple of weeks. They go ahead and send him $5 or $10. And that's making, a big difference in President Trump's war chest. And so you're going to see that same type of guerrilla style marketing to every voter out there who has some money to try to raise some bucks for their candidate. So whether you're Democrat, Libertarian, Republican, and if you're involved with any kind of political campaign, watch what you're doing. If you are sending out these text messages because you bought a marketing list off the internet for your city, state, county, whatever it is, you will get hit with the class action. And we will gleefully report on it because none of us like getting these text messages, and suing and filing these class actions is a great way to put a lot of money back in the individual's pockets, because you got that text message. Well, that text message could mean hundreds of dollars for you as an individual.
That's a really great point. I want to reiterate that real quick. We're in campaign season officially. We've got lots of, really only the one on the Republican side, but on the Democratic side, on the presidential arena, tons of them out there, a lot of them working with volunteers at the local level. These volunteers likely don't know that something like this is technically, by law, illegal. So please, folks, if you're a volunteer, if you're out there, if you know a volunteer, make sure you send them this. The The Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Learn it, know it. It could be your best friend, or it could absolutely get you kicked off a campaign and cost the campaign lots of money. Doesn't matter what side you're on, what office you're volunteering with, whether it's a presidential candidate or somebody at the local level. Know this law, because it could save you and your candidate a lot of time and hassle and money. And for more information, please follow the link in the description of this video and head on over to topclassactions.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for their weekly newsletter. Absolutely one of the best resources out there for consumers. Scott Hardy, Top Class Actions. As always, thank you very much for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for your time, Farron.